If you want to get off of caffeine, please do not go from drinking 3 to 4 cups of coffee per day to no caffeine. It will be very painful and it will not be pretty. Hey everyone, I'm Jen. Hello Brio is a community of conscious creatives, and if that sounds like you, make sure to hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel for weekly videos about intentional living and minimalism. The purpose of this video is not to demonize caffeine. Caffeine definitely has its place. I love caffeine in the past. I would probably love it now. And I always loved drinking a cup of coffee just because of the symbolism that it brings. It signifies the beginning of the day. Kicking off with a really great cup of coffee and a book is just the perfect way to start a day. Insert the Matt D'Avella inspired coffee pouring shot right here. But I've now been 2 months coffee free, 1 month caffeine free, and my life has changed for the better. That's not to say that I will never drink coffee again. I love coffee way too much to not ever drink it again, but I will be able to do so in hopefully a more responsible way. So the reasons that I wanted to originally quit caffeine were numerous. I wanted to reduce stress. I was irritable all the time, so the stress and the irritability kind of went hand in hand. I wasn't sleeping well, and I was also facing some physical ailments that I had hoped would subside as a result of cutting out caffeine from my diet. To paint a little bit of a picture, I was going from 3 to 4 cups of coffee a day to nothing. And the first time I tried this was back in November, I want to say, November, December, and it did not go well. I decided I was going to go full force and cut it out cold turkey, and it was just like somebody removed part of my brain and ran away with it. I was so physically tired the next day. I remember I was out on a run and everything just felt so quiet and peaceful. That was seemingly a good thing. The rest of the day was a disaster. My ability to do anything was just so stunted the rest of that day that I was literally slurring my words. It was so bad. My husband was like, "Are you okay? Do you think this no caffeine thing is really a good idea?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna do 30 days no caffeine, just go for it." And then I realized that it just wasn't good for my mental health at the time. So I reintroduced coffee. Cut to a couple months later, I was still facing all the same issues in terms of sleep and irritability and stress. And I was like, okay, maybe it's time that I try this again. However, instead of going cold turkey with lots of caffeine to no caffeine, I did a little bit more of a taper. I actually started by lowering my caffeine intake to tea. At first, I let myself drink as much tea as I wanted, and because I tend to like green tea more than black tea, I just went for as much green tea as I wanted, holding nothing back from that because I just wanted to allow myself to treat myself as much as possible during this transition time when I was going from coffee to no coffee. So I went for a couple of weeks where I would have as much tea as I wanted, and I saw that as the time went by, I needed and wanted less caffeine naturally. So that was a really good step. And I was gonna stay on this path until I decided that maybe trying no caffeine again would be a better route for my physical ailments that I was seeing, and hoping that that would help fix that. I went out and bought some herbal teas. I got some barley tea, which is really interesting if you've never tried that. And I also love peppermint tea. I think peppermint tea is great whether you're doing no caffeine or not. It's just a really nice way to cap a meal after you're done. It's just kind of like a nice, like an after dinner mint, but it's peppermint tea instead of being a chocolate mint. Some of the benefits that I've noticed is that I'm able to wake up on my own. And that just seems so insane to me, but instead of getting up and immediately chugging coffee, I'll just get up, have a really big glass of water. Sometimes I'll have lemon water, and then I feel pretty good. I feel pretty alert. I feel ready to go. Another benefit is that I'm not dependent upon coffee as a crutch. So I know that, if you're a coffee drinker, you might have been here too, or you might be there right now as you're watching this video. But when you're a coffee drinker and you feel that afternoon sluggishness, or you feel like your brain just isn't working quite well enough in the morning, you're like, oh, I just need some more coffee, right? We've all been there. But let me tell you, when you remove caffeine from the equation, you realize that, oh, you know what, instead of coffee, maybe I just need to take a break. So you kind of are a little bit more mindful with your physical and your mental awareness so that you can give your body what it needs rather than giving it a drug, even though, you know, caffeine is obviously not a hard drug, it's a drug. I would like to say that I'm also less irritable, but you'd have to ask my husband and my kids. But in all honesty, I do feel a little more centered and a little less strung out. And, you know, various life circumstances have changed in the past few months anyway, so it's hard to tell what began what. But at the same time, I do feel less irritable. I do feel less stressed out. The one issue that I still face is with sleep, and that's just something that I was not blessed with. I do not have the ability to fall back asleep when I wake up in the middle of the night. And notice I say when I wake up in the middle of the night and not if. It just goes to show you that now that I'm 2 months without coffee and 1 month without caffeine, that caffeine wasn't really having an effect on my sleep. So, you know, maybe if you're in the boat of like, maybe if I cut out caffeine, I'll sleep better. Maybe it will, maybe it'll work, and maybe it won't. It's really up to you. That's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you're considering cutting out caffeine or have cut out caffeine, I would love to know why and how you did it and what the benefits are that you're seeing. Leave a note in the comments below, and I'll talk to you next week.